Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of In Person. My name is Yutsa and we are here at the exhibition Tale of a City at Siddhartha Art Gallery in Kathmandu. This exhibition aims to bring out the essence of Kathmandu Valley, and it features multiple artists using multiple mediums. Joining us today is Jagadish Upadhya. He is a photographer who works strictly on film, and he also runs a collective called a Film Foundry here in Kathmandu that aims to pass on the skills of analog photography. Welcome, Jagadish. Namaste. I want to start off by asking you to tell us a bit about this exhibition and also how it came together.
This actually, Susan and all the participants, we together sat down one day and talked about our city, started talking about what we're missing and what are the changes it's happening in the city. So we decided that we should do some work on it, and that's how this group show happened. It's about Kathmandu city, especially.
Can you tell me a bit about your own experience with the city?
Yes, I grew up here, I was born here, so actually the city is changing so fast. That's our main concern. I mean, of course, everywhere is changing so fast, but we are not recognizing as, we're missing so many things. We should actually pick up some good stuff from our old past, but we are not doing that. So that's the main thing we're missing, and so we aim this exhibition could provide that little bit of light on that, what's here that we're gonna miss soon. So that's the whole idea. So.
Okay. Why don't we move
Please.
to
Yes.
see Film Foundry's work? So I'll stand here. So this is the work Film Foundry did. Can you tell us a bit about the thought process and also the actual process of this work?
The thought process is, in these pictures, we have a lot of 9 symbols. It belongs to a town called Kokana. These symbols are outside the temple, and normally what they do once a year, they repaint this symbol for 4 days with fasting. So in our mind, we thought that it's a really important symbol that, it's 4 days of fasting and repainting. And these are all you can see on the photograph. They are not like, common symbols. They are very unique design signs. So we started asking that questions about this symbol. And unfortunately, the meaning of the symbol is still vague, but for us it's very important because we like to know, or the generation should know, what they have been worshipping or what is the meaning. And another thing, on the photograph you can see that we have painted symbols with vermilion. This is our sindoor. This is been made locally by priests for puja especially. And all the photographs has a photo of the festivity. So our meaning behind is that all the festivals and our jatra belongs to or has an origin from symbols. That's why interposed, So the symbols kind of getting lost. That's why it's kind of like faded. But in the background, the image is of Jatra. So they have a relation between, but it's kind of fading a little bit. The symbols are fading. So that's what we want to portray spiritually, or the meaning, inside meaning. Technically, we want to talk about is we using all analog. These are lokta paper. We have to process using liquid emulsion. What we do, we make ready those papers, and then we coat silver gelatin, and then we print on this. These are all hand printed work.
Also, how was it going there using an analog camera versus using a digital camera?
Well, we love analog because it's slow process, and I think the analog itself, the whole process itself is interesting for us. It's not about just taking pictures. It's the whole idea of making ready your chemistry, what type of film you want to shoot, what kind of effect. So it's all fixed. Normally you can go with the digital camera, just click it and bring in your Photoshop. This is our ancient Photoshop actually. It's just the term, Photoshop and darkroom, they're similar. They all come from the same background. But we still use this old because we use our hand, and it's more manual, it's more artistic, more fun.
Okay. And what goes behind choosing which film to use and which equipment to use?
How do we choose? Actually, we have several formats on it. You cannot right now you cannot tell exactly because this is printed on Nepali paper. But yes, depending on the scene and the situations, because sometimes if you go festivity, you have to shoot quick 35. But sometimes I do take medium format or large format. This is from large format. It's quite an exercise to use it, but we love it. We do it, yeah.
And you've also used archive ink.
Yes, we use, these are all archival processing. We use archive silver gelatin, silver nitrate solution, and then we tone it to archive it with selenium. We tone it.
Yeah, I find it very interesting that the elements, the chemicals that you use, that also contributes to archiving, but also that the process that you're doing with analog, the process itself is a form of archiving, a practice
it is kind of, yes.
Yeah. Okay, should we move on?
Sure, please.
Here?
This is Susan's work.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, I forgot to mention you on our photographs. We worked with Abhishek Shah and Rupesh Man Singh, myself. We're all three together.
Okay. And this is by
Susan Dongol.
Yeah. And this is ink
and paper.
And paper.
Ink on paper.
Okay. Can you tell us a bit about how, because these two, the work that you do and this one is quite different in terms of the medium.
Totally, yes.
So how are these two mediums having a conversation with each other?
So see, if you look at this drawings, you see all the old houses, patches, broken windows. So from his perspective also, that he also grew up here, and now these buildings are transforming in a rapid speed. So what happened is one day we sat together talking, Normally we build mud houses before, we have a proper house, it's constructed wood, brick, wood, brick and mud. So, and then we said, these are very natural material, and now people are talking about zero waste, no, don't want to waste anything. But we've been practicing this for, thousands of years already. Why we have to adopt now zero waste, a new word, We've been doing it. We are the masters of the zero waste already, So that's how the relations, we're talking about, So what you have in the past, you have to look properly, and you can readopt that thing in the present. Yeah. So now you see in Kathmandu outside, everybody is building, the cement, concrete, all jungle. So this is our idea of, the jatras, whatever the good in the past has to be connected with the present. So this is just a reminder. That's how we're connected, together with the same, exhibition.
That's very interesting. Should we head up because
yes,
we have some work up as well?
Yes. friend Assis. These are digital print because he's not here. So this is all about our process of jatra. And what we are showing here, not only the photo of a festivity jatra, but look at the materials they're using. Look at the copper pots. Now the copper pots are very popular for nice water or whatever, that we've been using this for like centuries. All the stuff.
Yeah. There is a sense of nostalgic way of looking at spiritual practice and ritual practice in all of the works. And I was curious to know, because that kind of nostalgia is not really there with the current generation.
Yes.
And what are you trying to invoke through the nostalgia?
No, what we are trying to invoke is nostalgia. Not all the nostalgia are bad. So what we're trying to tell the viewers, please go through your nostalgia and analyze it. What is the process? I mean, I told you talk about the zero waste. Now people go and say, okay, don't use plastic, but we're not using plastic before. Also, we're using pots and made out of copper or mud houses that are popular now. I've seen on the television of West, all the billionaires are building mud houses or hempcrete houses. So why can't we adopt that? We've been using that for centuries and thousands of years. So it's just a reminder, look, whatever your past is not always bad. There are good things to bring it. Yeah, that's the whole idea.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the other one.
Yes, this is our friend Anil Ranjit. He's also not here, unfortunately. So these are about the crops and the traditional way of making it. The same thing now. People, talk about organic eating and zero, self-dependency. That means, you don't have to depend on others. So people before, they grew their own crop. So they were self-sufficient. So, and these things are now vanishing so rapidly. We buy food from Brazil, China, or we get apple from China, we get fruits from Bangkok, rather than growing your own. So it's just a reminder, before you purchase, maybe try to look at what you're eating and how things changing. So this is one way of, reminding people.
These photos were also taken in Kokana, where you took your photos, right?
Yes.
And Kokana is going through a lot of changes,
rapid changes,
and there have been a lot of talks about a highway going through
the
demolition.
the important places.
Yeah.
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit more about that history and that context?
I think so. In the name of development, people are just building without any common senses, because yes, we need new stuff. That doesn't mean you have to demolish everything and make it new, So we try to tell them okay, before you demolish it, at least do some study, what's important for the community. And so it just it's kind of like passive protest. We're not on the street, but at least our heart is there to say, slow down. Change is good, but slowly, not too fast.
Yeah. Okay. Should we also look at?
Please, yes.
Unfortunately, Sujan could not be here, but this is a very interesting work because it highlights and focuses on the lunar calendar, and he's making a point about how most of our rituals and the most of our way of planning our life and even the ceremonies and the rites that we do, it's based on the lunar calendar. However, in the modern world, we function through the solar calendar.
The Western calendar now, because our date's been all January, February rather than, so we have changed. That's what he's saying, we do live with our lunar, our ceremony, everything, fasting, pujas, we follow a lunar calendar. But suddenly in a daily life you wake up, and then you look at it's the 14th, it's all solar calendar. So it's kind of like a lunatic city, that's what I say. People are crazy, because in confusion, actually crazy in confusion, because all your things with the moon, and then suddenly your bread and butter comes from sun. So how do you manage that, So it's a lot of stress also, unseen stress. People don't say that, but then you have to keep up with two calendars all the time. So he's representing, this madness through this paint, these drawings.
Yeah, it's really nice. I want to ask another, a more personal question to you,
please.
Which is that you've said that you only strictly practice film.
We try to, we stay with film.
Okay.
Or alternative processes, yes.
Okay, so is that a statement, or is that through passion, or?
It's through passion, Basically, I grew up through film era that everybody went through, I think my generation photographer all knew how to do analog. So, but a lot of them moved with time, with new technology. But I said maybe why I don't want to run fast, but whatever I know, I'll just keep it and work on it. And that's why I love film. It's the touch, the whole process doing it. So, I enjoy it.
And also, I wanted to know how difficult is it to practice, keep this practice going in Kathmandu specifically?
It's
because
very, very difficult because you have to source the material from outside, which is very hard. But unfortunately, what we are doing now is we try to make our own chemistry here. We do get a bulk chemistry and remix our own chemistry. That part we are kind of ease. But there are few materials like films, and we have to import it. That's kind of hard, yes. It is difficult.
Any final thoughts on the overall exhibition that you would want to?
Well, please, I think a lot of people seen it, and if you have not seen it, please come. We don't have many days left, but I think what it gave us is do more of this kind of work. We have a lot of positive feedback, and young generation said, yes, we have to, I mean, rather than we just jump into new technology or new word, we have to take our root also, which is kind of important. So yes, I think we got a lot of encouragement through this exhibition. I think we'll do another one soon.
It's great, and I find it really great that all the artists, visual artists, are in conversation with each other, and there's like a mix of all these different mediums, and through that you're trying to like say the same thing, and it's really great. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, and thank ASAP for allowing us to have this kind of access, It's kind of great,